Hey friends, so this is my first YouTube video, and I basically just wanted to show you guys on how to go about rebooting your Toyota CV joint. This one's not so bad at the moment. I already did my driver's side, but this one you can tell that the cracks are already showing, and next you know the boot's gonna tear. And so this usually happens when you have a lifted Tacoma, FJ, 4runner. Basically, you know, when you raise the vehicle, the angle on the CV joint is a little bit more exaggerated and the boot starts wearing out. So we'll actually be installing one of these high angle CV boots. But yeah, so I hope this helps. I know I've tried searching a few videos on YouTube, and there's a few good videos on there, but I mean for Toyota specifically, you don't really see those very often on there, so I hope this helps. Alrighty guys, so to start off, we're gonna go ahead and take off these two bands. There's one here, one here. I'm gonna go ahead and take these off. You can do that by getting a flathead screwdriver, and there's these little tabs right under. You can pry under and it'll come off just like that. So in case you couldn't see it, connects like that, right? Put the screwdriver right under, comes right off. Okay, so to that one, and then the other one right here. Pull these off. Alright, so now that off, this actually comes apart pretty easy. See that? So this part that actually goes inside your diff. See that? Okay. So when you take these apart, a lot of the times when you have to reboot already, the boot's already torn up, and you want to catch it before you start getting water in there, because then, you know, it starts oxidizing in here. But you know, with the grease, it'll help it, but you want to make sure the grease isn't all, I guess, chocolate milk looking. I mean, it's great, but it's not like chocolate milk, if you've ever seen that. Yeah, so put that there for now. Next, so over here, these are the spider joints, spider bearings, I guess you can call it. You're gonna start by cleaning this all off. And see that there's something. There we go. The snap bearing is right up in there, and we're gonna go ahead and take that off. Go. Okay, so you get the snap ring off. Go and clean this up. From there, we're gonna go ahead and remove the spider joint there. Alright, so we are gonna cut this up. So since we are gonna reboot this, whether yours are mangled up, torn apart, or whatever, you are gonna have to, you know, basically cut these apart or remove them somehow, right? So with the kit that I'm using, it's from Offroad Solutions. Pretty nice kit. We are actually gonna keep this part. I know there's another company, I can't remember the name. I guess they already supplied this part for you, it's already cut, but if you don't get that kit, the one that I have comes with the new boot, but you are going to reuse this part. So in my experience, I've rebooted my truck 2 times already, and it's always torn from about the second groove from either here or here, never back here. I mean, you can even see it now. There's no cracks there, but there's definitely cracks there on the second. Yeah, there you go. You can inside the second groove, you can see there's actually cracks there. That's usually where it tears, or out here. Oh look, actually right here too, you see that? So that's where the tears are gonna happen. So anywho, just letting you know, you're gonna have to cut it off, rip it off, or whatever, but once you put the new boot, which I'll show you here in a little bit, but I'm gonna cut it here, just because I'm actually gonna reuse this part, to go with the new boot. So, here, license, and that's off. I'm just gonna room setup, easier. Take a screwdriver on the back side. Just basically put it right there. And if you can see that clearly, you're just gonna put the screwdriver on the back side of it, and you're gonna hit it with the hammer, or if you have a chisel. I don't have a chisel, so I'm using what I have, right? Anyway, so you're just gonna hit it on the back side of that, and as you can see, it will get the spider joint right off. Just make sure you keep the screwdriver on the back side of this here, so you're not mangling up the teeth where it mates on the other end, on the shaft. Just kind of go around it, separating it evenly, and it will come out. Oh, just that. There you go. Okay guys, so something I should have mentioned a little bit. So I did say mine was already marked. As you can see, there's the white lines on the shaft and on the spider joint, right? So before removing, just to keep everything the way you take it out, you know, put it back in the same way, mark on the shaft and on the spider joint. That way you have an idea of where exactly it went once you're putting it back on. Like, is it just to keep everything the same as when you took it out, right? Okay, so once you have everything all cleaned up, so clean off your spider joint, clean off the shaft, you're gonna go ahead and put the new boot on. So we removed the spider joint so we can put the new boot on. There we go. Alright, so on the shaft, it has a groove of where, you know, the original boot sits. So that's where you'll put yours, but if you're using the same kit that I'm using, it's actually going to sit a little bit further back. Reason being, it's a longer boot than the original. Just to give you guys a bit of reference, here's the old boot compared to the new boot. A lot bigger, which helps with that high angle. So you'll go ahead and just slip on the new boot for now. Push it down a little bit. Okay. And now we'll go ahead and put the spider joint back on there. So you're gonna need a socket. This is the one that I used to take off the CV joint. It's a 35. And basically, you're gonna go ahead, put it on top, and you just start hammering it down. So keep it straight, aligned with the bottom. I'm sure if you have a vise or something to at least hold this while you hammer this down would help, but you just try to keep it straight and you should be okay. So you guys can see, you're getting it back on there. Alright, so go ahead and get it on there. You can see from the sides how much further you need to go. Not too much, as you can see. Just get it down far enough. I mean, it'll come to a stop. You need to get it down far enough so that way you can put the snap ring back on there. Oops, snap ring. Okay. All right. So just gonna hammer it down. And so, like I said, this 35, the one they use to remove the CV joint, works pretty well because as you're hammering it down, the shaft will be able to slide through the inside of the socket while still being able to hammer the spider joint down. So, put it back where it was marked, far enough down to where I can get the snap ring on there, and we'll just go ahead and put the snap ring on now. Alrighty friends, so there it is, snap ring back on there, spider joint, new boot, awesome. Alrighty guys, so once you get the part that goes into the diff cleaned up, and you get everything else cleaned up, you're gonna go ahead and put new grease that comes with your reboot kit. So the one that Offroad Solutions actually sends you is genuine Toyota CV joint grease. Pretty sweet, if you ask me. Alright, so you're gonna put half of this, or whatever grease you have. Half of it is gonna go in here, right? So I've already put mine in there. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's plenty. So you put half in here, and then you put the other half inside here with the boot. You can just bring this down, put the grease under there, and that's how you go ahead and do that. Alright, so again, I'm using the Offroad Solutions high angle boot, which I highly recommend if you have a lifted truck. So we're gonna reuse our original boot. Like I said, there's another company that makes it. They pretty much provide you this. This is my original boot. I just cut it here. So if you want to, save a little money, cut it yourself, or spend a little extra, and they'll send you this part already. And so basically, this is going to sit over this part here. Get it on there. Boom, like so. This is gonna go there, and then you're just gonna put this part over that. Okay, so if you are using the original boot, new boot, whatever, obviously you're not gonna have to do this, right? You don't have to put this part on. You would already have the new boot here, and then you would just put this on over the new boot, and then that's when you get your new clamps, or you can actually reuse those if you're careful enough, but get your new clamps and put it all back together. And that's basically it. But in this case, we're doing a little bit more because we have a little bit more, right? Anyways, so let's go ahead and get that put on together, okay? Alright guys, so we're back. Sorry, the GoPro actually died while putting on the boot, but essentially what I was trying to explain to you guys is that the new boot will go over the old boot that you cut, or like I said, if you get the other brand or from the boot from the other company, they provide you the boot that goes over your original housing here, right? But essentially, they're both the same thing. If you use your old boot, you cut it just to the edge, about like right there. You put the old boot on, and then the new high angle boot sits right over that boot, and then from there we go ahead and we use our new clamps and we tie it down. And so basically I'm gonna wait on this end for the purpose of the video, is for the high angle boot. But if you are just gonna use an original OEM boot, you can clamp it here, clamp it here. But if not, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clamp this one here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and throw on the CV axle back on the truck. And I want to get this back part of the boot push back a little bit further because it's a lot longer because of the high angle. And so once I have it where I need it, then I'll go ahead and put on the new clamp for the smaller end of it, where it holds onto the shaft. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and get this clamp back on there. So they sell these CV joint clamps that you can get. They're pretty cool. Just sometimes the clamp, like you can see, it's kind of high there. So I'm gonna try to get as much as I can. Clamp it down. Looks like it's working pretty good. Okay. There it is. Just give it a little bit more. Go. And I like to hammer these ends down just to make sure they don't come out. But in case you've never put one of these clamps on, like here's the old one. Alright, so it's got these little teeth right at the end of it that grab onto the clamp. And then this part with your CV joint clamp tool, or you can even use some of these right here. Just, you know, I guess careful not to, you know, cut off the end. Be mindful of how you squeeze it, but you can use these. You can actually just make it tighter. Of course, it's gonna stay on there when it's on the CV joint, but you just squeeze that top end right there. Right there. Squeeze that top end, and then it brings in the clamp, squeezing it and holding the boot to the housing of the CV joint. And that's basically what you do right there. Okay, so again, if you're using a regular boot, you can just go ahead and put your new little clamp that goes on the shaft here. You can go ahead and put it on now, throw the CV joint back in, and bada bing, bada boom, you are good to go. But for what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the CV joint back in there, and then I'm going to put this clamp on, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys what I do. Alright guys, so I wasn't able to show the uninstallation of the CV joint, but essentially it's the same thing putting it back in. So I undid these two 19mm bolts that hold down the spindle to the lower control arm, and of course the nut that holds the CV to the knuckle. Alright, so if you turn your steering wheel all the way to the passenger side, so we're working on the passenger side, it'll give you enough room to extend your steering rack all the way this way. So that way, when you lift everything up, everything's kind of out of the way. So just leave the knuckle there. In the meantime, while you kind of slide this in. It's a little bit harder now because it's actually a little thick. Alright, so get the CV joint through, and you're just going to go in and slide it back in to the diff. You're going to try to work it in. There we go. Alright, so just get the CV joint back in there. Alright, and then go ahead, put the CV back in here. I like to put some blue Loctite on these bolts, just because from experiences from other vehicles, I've had these bolts actually come loose. Alright, I'm just gonna put the nut back on to hold the CV joint, just because I don't want it to come out. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and turn the truck on, turn the steering back center, that way I can get that other clamp on the other end of it. Alright guys, so I tried to get a little bit closer so you guys can see for the high angle boot, we need to, see it's all scrunched up, we need to put this in a more relaxed state. Seeing how the truck's already lifted, you can see, you know, the articulation is here, or kind of, you know. Anyways, we have droop, so we want to have this boot in a more relaxed state at this point of flex, I guess you can call it. So we're just gonna get a screwdriver, kind of reach under. We're gonna try to pull the boot towards us, just a little bit more down, and then we'll be able to clamp it down. So the boot's kind of sitting on that groove that I was talking about earlier, where the OEM boot sits, or like a regular length boot. Alright, there we go. So we're just gonna pull it down a little bit, have it in a more relaxed state. There we go. That looks pretty good right there. It says to go about maybe an inch more from where that groove is, and it should be about an inch, but the whole purpose is to have the new high angle CV boot in a more relaxed state while you're having that droop, because that's where the wear and tear comes into place. So right there, that should be good right there. And now we can go ahead and get our new clamp, and we can go ahead and install it here, just because I like to have things very similar. That's where the other one is. We'll kind of line it up in the same place. That way, you know, we can actually, I guess, keep an eye on both of them. Alrighty guys, so to wrap up the install, we're gonna go ahead and just button everything up. So we have these two 19mm bolts that we put down here, and again, I like to put Loctite on them just because with other vehicles I've had the experience of them coming off. But so we're gonna go ahead and button these down. This is actually at 160 pounds. That one. Yeah, so the last thing you want is your lower control arm coming undone, off-roading or on the freeway, you know. There's that. And then we're gonna go ahead and button down the CV joint. That one's actually at 173. So nice. There we go. Nice and torqued down. And just finish putting everything else on it. So it's got this little, I guess, collar kind of thing. Pretty cool because it has like different notches. So if you like that one, doesn't actually fit for the cotter pin. Turn it. There we go. Good. Cotter pin through. This is actually a newer cotter pin that I've recently installed, so I don't really feel like we need to put a brand new cotter pin in there. But if you have new ones or it hasn't been changed in a while, go ahead and put a new cotter pin in. Pretty easy for the install. We don't have to take too much off, which is always good. we go. And that's that right there. And then just go ahead and put your dust cap back on. Got a little mallet. There we go. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Hey friends, so we just got done with the install, and it wasn't so bad, right? So like I said at the beginning of the video, the purpose of this was to kind of show you guys how to do it yourself, because I've looked online and there's not a lot of videos on how to reboot your CV joints, which I think you can save a lot more money just doing it yourself. I mean, you're looking at $20–30 for a reboot kit compared to, I don't know, $200 and up, depending where you go, for a whole CV shaft. You know what I mean? Looking at $400 or $500 for one at the dealership, you know. Anywho, I hope this helped, guys, and I hope I was descriptive enough to show you guys exactly what you needed and how to do it. But let me go ahead and show you guys the install. So, all right, so hopefully you guys can see it there. So there's the boot, looking nice. So this is the high angle CV boot, like I said earlier, and it's supposed to help, you know, when you're flexed out there on the trails. It's made from a different material, you know, it's a little more heavy duty for sure. So this is the driver's side. I installed this one, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, and it's held up pretty well, honestly. A little dirty, but that's gonna happen anyway. But it looks good, no tears so far. So yeah, I hope this helped out, guys. Like I said, I've looked, I'm sure other people have looked, and if you have any questions, I guess, you know, leave a comment below. And if you guys don't already follow me on Instagram, my Instagram handle is waffle_taco with 2 O's at the end. And yeah, I'm always posting my truck and, you know, different adventures with me and my wife, my son out there. Yeah, this is my first video, guys. I hope you like it, hope it helps, and I'll try to do more how-to and install videos more often now, or, well, I guess let's see how this one goes. But again, hope it helps. Like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and see you next time.